And gentlemen, people of planet Earth, is this going to be the biggest week in world history? Maybe. Definitely maybe, in my opinion. Now, please remember, there are 7 billion other people on this planet here with us, and me, and you. And everybody's got a different opinion about everything. So, just want to let you know, I appreciate you. And if you'd like to listen, I would like to talk to you about how, hey man, it's like we started out as cavemen in the Garden of Eden. And how many thousands of million years it took us to get to modern society where you have super skyscrapers, you can travel to other planets, you can build giant buildings above ground, below ground, or even make them float. And so from that period of caveman, the Garden of Eden to like now, it wasn't until the 1900s that people really got around, or the late 1700s, that people really got around to giving the group rights. Like, hey man, wow, there are a lot of fucking people on this fucking planet. But like, we hadn't quote unquote conquered the world digitally and flown around in a plane. And so like the whole thought of like, hey guys, here in one country way over here in the east, in one country way over in the west, in the 15 or 1400s, there weren't a lot of people go, hey, we should give every single human being basic rights that you kind of include don't kill each other, don't rape each other, and don't steal food from each other. Or make sure there's enough food to provide. That's a whole fucking can of worms. And I don't want this video to be too can of wormsy. Anywho, cheers and Merry Christmas and Happy 4th of July. Are we going to make it? I don't know. This is my 7th year as your Planetary Defense Commander. Anniversary. I think when Thursday changes into Friday on the 23rd, it'll be like 7 years. It's 2014 that I've been doing this. From Asteroid Fight Club to Planetary Defense Commander to surviving 2020. And now, just like in Game of Thrones, after winter came and went, you still got to handle everything between everybody else. And today, there is a fudge ton of bombing going on, especially near, if reported correctly, nuclear power plants in other major countries. And if you've been following along, the giant global stage of all the superpowers or anyone who has a military or who has access to nuclear weapons, because there are multiple nations on the whole planet that possess nuclear weapons. And in theory, you only need 3 to wipe out a country, no matter how big that country is, if you place those 3 well and they're big enough on a technological curve scale. Like, there are an immense amount of groups that hold the power and have held the power to cause mutually assured destruction on Earth, to where like everybody just dies and civilization gets a giant fat fucking F. Somehow the cavemen who made it to the Garden of Eden still survive and continue to rapidly progress into the industrial age, especially after we harnessed, for whatever word you want to use, electricity. Like, the technology curve is almost going straight up since man figured out, hey man, I can take lightning and make it do really cool things. I can take energy and create and build stuff with it. And so as your Planetary Defense Commander for almost 7 years, the problem we have been dealing with is an overabundance of everything. And so like, do we have enough food to feed everybody every day and have the ways to figure it out in a natural course of our human being day-to-day life to where we can feed everybody and technically give them hundreds of food options to choose from in life, because food is that motherfucking magnificent. Like, you have cheeses and breads and butters, and even for people who eat animals, which I have many times, hamburger and what's it talking about? Oh, so yeah, part of my job here has been to like convince everybody in the world, in whatever group, that like we have to avoid mutually assured destruction. There's almost like no roadmap where, like, you can't, I don't know, there are just so many weaponized groups. So if you even take just nukes and states, we define states like now, or countries have their own currency, right? And so that every country used its currency with its people, pretty much. That's how it went for a long time before we've been in the 100-year New World Order, whatever the fuck it is. Ever since you got a stock market, that was technically when, like, the New World Order started. It does seem, was it talking about crazy shit, probably. Oh yeah, so like my job is like, hey y'all, it's been amazing. Like everybody cheers, you did a great job. The fact that we haven't fucked it all up, we've been handed this immense overabundance of all things. We've been handed all this knowledge. We've been handed, and then just like in the story of Eris, I believe, when Eris throws the golden apple at Mount Olympus, like part of the reason Mount Olympus falls and Mars gets all super fucked up is because like all the most powerful people in Olympus were fighting over a fucking golden apple. Like, oh, who owns it's maybe it's gold, maybe it's magic, maybe it's got powers, maybe it like, but at the end of the day, it's just a fucking gold apple. Nobody can eat it. Sure, you can put it in an art gallery as an NF fucking T GIF and charge $100 quadrillion or whatever currency you're using, whether it be our solar system or off-world. What was it talking about? Oh yeah, shit is crazy. And if I survive and we survive the next, I don't know, 36, 48 hours, I will be Planetary Defense Commander for 7 years. So my job is always like, let us avoid absolute destruction. And at times you're always going to have people figure out a way, like, hey, we figured out a way to work around humanity, like where we can bottleneck all the things of the planet just for ourselves and our little group. And the people who aren't good enough at that new off-world capitalism just get kind of fucked in a very Darwin-esque but mean and cruel clusterfuck bottleneck that if it doesn't work, then everybody fucking dies. Which may or may not have definitely happened on this planet or in our solar system multiple fucking times. Somebody would guess anywhere from 6 to 7. The number could even be so much bigger than that. Think of this. What if Earth has always been here? And that humanity has gone around on this planet in one form or another like over 100 times. That would be crazy, right? And so far, like, we still hadn't figured out how to get it right yet. Anywho, what was I talking about? I was talking about, like, getting the brotherhood of man to keep fellowship amongst all the great holidays we've had for the last 100 years to stay cool, man. Like, the fact that the Russia-Ukraine situation is at like DEFCON, very high levels, it would seem, if you're going to believe reports. Russia, oh yeah, the thing that quote unquote not freaked me out, or what's the word we're going to use here? Like Russia announced that they're pulling out of the International Space Station and they're going to form a space program with China, right? I went to the store in my car and bought Jesus candles. I was like, wow, I feel like I'm in Mad Magazine. Way back in the day when you get to go to this giant store that has like versions of all this cool choices as human beings that people have made or collected or put together that like somehow magically make life better. Like, I just lit a Jesus candle. That is so cool to me. It's only like $1.40. And I spent, so I drove to a big Walmart. And this is Mother Mary candle. $1.44 each. They're definitely bringing me over $4 worth of happiness. Oh, so another thing. So I was driving to Walmart. I haven't been out driving a ton just because it's always super defense mode. Asterisk. All right, so I was driving behind a guy in a Maserati, and the song on the radio was fantastic, and I love driving. I haven't driven much over the last 2.5, 3 years or whatever. And so I was so happy. And I was thinking, Man, I wonder if the guy in the Maserati is as happy as I am. I mean, maybe people who have a Maserati feel like that every day of their life. But I was just happy to be driving in my car, which runs super smooth and is fantastic. Yeah, so, but yeah, so there have been missile attacks in the Middle East, bouncing around multiple countries. One going off near Israel nuclear power plant is like that is said it's gonna be a big week, like maximum level. Hey guys, let's all be cool. Like somehow a wave of coolness has kept civilization together and moving forward over the last 100 years. Like at the time where like if we understand history correctly, the Nazis were like, hey, we think we're smart enough now in the 40s because we got flying saucers. We can take over the whole fucking planet. And we're a tiny country with limited resources. And then the rest of the nation was like, hell no, this shit is fucked up. And it's weird that like 100 fucking years ago we had a giant fucking plague break out. And that every nation and almost individual had every day in the last 100 fucking years to learn about fucking pandemics. Hell, man, if you did not have much time to look into pandemics throughout your lifetime, all you gotta do is go back, like, look at the last 3 big ones that hit, like, in 1918. 1666, they had a fucking plague during the 666 year, which is weird. And then like 1333, I believe, those like major, at times where civilization is growing rapidly and very, like a plague just comes along and kicks everybody in the fucking face. And creates giant power vacuums. And I want to reiterate back to the point that they didn't invent nuclear weapons until the 1940s. So any country could just pretty much attack any other country whenever they wanted to. Every tribe, like every group, every gang that before the 1900s, anyone could just attack anybody pretty much at any fucking time. I mean, I just want to say, which is a weird thing I have to say, but I say it regularly. I love black people and I love the police. Anywho, the idea that we even have police officers now in the modern age policing and trying to keep the murdering, the raping, and the robbing down as low as possible, that like our history books fucking lied to us. That like before barbed wire in cities, that like nobody really had any rights. No one was policing the Wild Wild West. And the gold, and the silver, and the oil. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So, in this 100-year New World Order, whatever the fuck you want to call it, since 1914, country has agreed, yeah, human beings deserve rights. And that for thousands of years before the 1900s, there are always powerful men and women, kings and queens, who at some point inherited part of the like empire or this town or the city. So but that up until like, it seems like 2015, everybody agreed that human beings should have, or at least Americans agreed with Americans that everybody should get your basic human rights. So as Planetary Defense Commander in the waning hours of 6th year, India is getting hit super fucking hard. 300,000. I think there are a billion people in India. 4 people in India for every 1 person in the United States of America. And today they had 300,000 coronavirus cases, which even at a 0.05, like half of 1%, it's a lot of people who are going to die, and there's a lot of sickness that's going to happen. And Brazil has been getting hit really, really, really hard, like harder than everybody else. And their numbers are super spiking in ways that make people, if people were still asking questions and trying to save people, they'd be like, what is happening in Brazil so bad? But so like on one end, you still like you have like America's in every country in Europe, like every country's fighting right now. Like how do there are riots happening, like everybody's up, like kind of. There's a lot of unhappiness as the system itself is breaking down. But we're still keeping it together. But this is a very crazy day where Russia and China are like, they said, hey, yeah, we're pulling out of the International Space Station. And that it appears our space program has turned everything over to Dogecoin. So like in the early 90s, even 80s, I was like, man, we'll take the space shuttle to the moon. That'd be great. Drink a beer, playing guitar on the moon. Or just on the space shuttle. And now it's like, no, we don't have humans. We don't even have our rovers or helicopters going to the moon. But Dogecoin's going to the moon. So it's like our space program, it feels like it's been turned over to the cryptocurrency, let's say Mars. So like, Elon Musk is in charge of our space program now, which is weird. And he said he's the commander of Mars. And so it's like, why is Mars mad at Earth, bro? I've been talking about the Martian energy that's come in, felt like since 96. Yeah, I don't know. So these are crazy days, my friends. So cheers. I've lit 2 Jesus candles. Though I respect everyone's right to whatever they believe makes the whole world go round and what will happen after we die. Like everybody, you lived your life, you will have your own perspective on things. So I lit these for a good 4th of July and for a good Christmas and just holiday season and this winter. Although the virus is going to make everything super all fucked up. It won't be as dark as last winter, but it'll still be pretty fucking dark. And this is like, are we even going to make it to the winter? Like, oh yeah, and I think then off Indonesia, a submarine just they said they lost signal. So they're like 53 men disappeared in a submarine. And then I want to go back, if I can, to talk about the whole Marvel and their timeline, the Marvel universe. Half the people in the world had died by the end of 2022. Which has given me a personal weird benchmark goal, like, oh, we definitely want to do better than that. But like technically, if we fucked up bad enough, we could do worse than that, and like everybody dies. Another full reset. Like I said, may have happened on Mars, may have happened in Atlantis, may have happened in Lemuria, may have happened on Tiamat, may have happened on Vulcan, may have happened. And so, tension seems high. Oh, but then we do have the big romantic question of when will we see Venus in the sky again? And there are very few bodies in the sky that have blown my skirt up when I have just looked up and laid my eyes upon them. And Venus and Jupiter are two of those planets. And so Jupiter's been in the sky for a while, although he hasn't blown my skirt up. But Venus has been in the underworld for a long time. And during this time, Venus transmitted, conjuncted, passed by the distant orbit of Pluto and Eris. So to me, that is crazy. And just how divinely mythological all this stuff is. And I would guess that over the course of the entire universe, God has had a lot of planets, and God has had a lot of kids, and God has had a lot of angels. Although when people say there's nothing new under the sun, they always sound jaded to me. Because I seen new shit. Yo, what's it talking about? Beer. So yeah, cheers to beer. Cheers to civilization. But yeah, it totally could be a wild week. And in theory, people could calm down. The smoother feelings could kick in and the calmness return when Venus reappears in the sky. Because think about it. Of all the stars or planets we get in the sky that we can see, most of them have a male energy. Although the sun has a female energy. They say feminine. But like Venus is another female light. Alright, so you got a million fucking people. If I can take this over to my fellow Christians at the moment, who we all disagree on a lot of shit. All the time. Respectfully, hopefully. Anyway, I always hear people talking about like the mark of the beast, right? Or the number 666. Like that seems to own like 85% of the truther or Christian when everybody wants to speculate on Revelations. It's like the only things on this giant book with many chapters, the only things they ever talk about are 85% of all that energy. Or the rapture, which isn't even mentioned. Or end of days, which isn't even mentioned. Like there's no, you're not quoting the Bible there. Okay, or the New Testament, or the book of Revelation, or the other books. What was it talking about? Yeah, so the book of Revelation starts off talking about the 7 angels of the 7 churches and the 7 lampstands. So they're like 7 different angels, like lampstands, meaning that they're almost like planets. And that each angel or man or woman or like main champion that comes out of each church lampstand, like each one has good attributes, and then each one has sins or mistakes that they made. And so that's why, like, it literally says there's 7 different churches. And so as a Christian, it's always like, yeah, you gotta acknowledge that with like all the other churches, they're still part of our earth family, and we're all still under God, in my interpretation. Oh, but the fact is that, like, supposedly there's a good guy, and the good guy, or however you read, there are 2 different verses. One implies good guy, one implies bad guy, that will be given the power of the morning star. If Venus is a morning star. So it's like, is the power of Venus bad, or is it like the power of the iPhone where it was technologically neutral when it came in? And so it's all very matrixy for sure. But I would like to continue to recommend, as I have done for almost 7 years, that we avoid World War III. We come up with a plan together for all the people, and that human beings get basic civil rights. And that to get to the civilization 1A, we all on planet Earth have to be animal lovers. And then the next 10 to 100 years of however we work out, being meat eaters, 1 year, whatever the fuck that is. I don't know, it's the whole thing. Like, I was talking to y'all like, hey guys, what about this? What if a giant armada of aliens showed up and were like, hey, here's the deal. You guys are cool, but since you eat your animals, we are going to wipe out, or we're going to freeze you guys all, and we're going to eat you human beings, but we'll give you a year to give up eating animals. It's an interesting idea. You could almost even like write a movie about it. Like, what would happen? How would we react? There are 100 different ways to go. But just, we definitely absolutely have to start treating the animals much better than we do on like every level. And I've tried to give up eating meat twice and done pretty well. It's a consistently in and out thing you gotta have planned out every single day. And so I have failed in my 2 attempts to stop eating animals, but I will probably love butter and cheese forever. Like, you ain't never taking butter and cheese away from me. I mean, a lot of things I'm trying to say here, I'm trying to do with a sense of humor. Because how people make it through this world as we know it, it's been like people shooting people bonanza. And it's weird that we've like to, almost like we give genres of bands. Like, this band is country, this band is pop, this band is reggae, this band is polka, this band is new pop. Like, we've like all the different shootings, when one human being shoots, or multiple human beings shoot multiple human beings, in the like last 20 years, we've like given like, I don't know, 10 different tags to all the different types of shooting people that there might be. But then like generally overall, the amount of like people who are shooting people on the planet, that number's gone way up. Like, everybody's just fucking pissed off all the time. And then, like, every time people shoot people, it gets everybody on the internet just arguing. Everybody starts arguing about the shooting. They're like, it's the craziest fucking shit, and it's been going on since Columbine. So as a Generation Xer, just about the, not only just basic shootings, like throughout the Wild Wild West, everybody used to shoot everybody. And then, like I said, we got more civilized, and then the weird Columbine, where it's like school shootings and the media really, or mass shootings and the media really go hand in hand. Like a weird symbiotic relationship. But that, for whatever reason, people are shooting each other, the crimes are up. Shootings, stabbings. We got 7 billion people. We gotta keep it together. And if all the people in charge are just poking everybody with sticks every fucking day, that's what it feels like. Sorry, I have not worked on my lighting as well as I should. Yeah, keep it together, pretty please. Earth, buddy-o. I mean, they say that Russia has like 150,000 troops all around Ukraine. so like people shoot people and missiles fly. India, like I said, in the pandemic, as Planetary Defense Commander, this is a lot, and I'm super surprised I'm still alive. Although not that surprised, 'cause I'm pretty good at my job so far. And energies end up in the mix, so we're just trying to go about our day, do our shit, and before we know it, you got Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto in Capricorn, 2019, 2020. Well, everybody's like, what the fuck was that? And I'm like, well, it was probably Capricorn, Saturn, Pluto, all Capricorn, man. That was crazy fucking shit. It was like 10 movies right there. Man, like I said, the Venus in the underworld and all the Eros energy that has been in April, and it is classically through April. So the 13th of the month, we've been on escalating people fighting over shit. And so when I titled this video, is this the biggest week ever? That like leading up into this full moon, we can make it to the next one. Next full moon is Sagittarius, man. And I know I'm biased, but the Sagittarius energy is awesome, and it's my favorite. It's like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. The coolest thing about Spider-Man is that he was funny, so that like whatever was going on, he can still tell jokes, make people laugh, and people tend to trust people who are funny, because my experience is hard to be like being dishonest and being funny don't really go hand in hand. Like people, you can be rich and people still laugh at your fucking jokes because they're basically on your fucking payroll, but being an honest to goodness, really funny, naturally funny human being, where like almost everything they do, like Mitch Hedberg, Robin Williams, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, like where just being that type of funny, like there's always Dave Chappelle, there's an honesty in comedy. So like the spirit of comedy is true. So it's hard to be a funny entity and then be a liar from what I've experienced, or what I've seen in life and people I've known. That's not saying that liars can't be funny. I'm just saying, what was it talking about? I don't even know, man. Oh yeah, Scorpio moon. We gotta make it through. So like this week is huge. Plus, it is my 7-year anniversary of whatever reason. I was like, okay, we need a Planetary Defense Commander, and I guess I will do my best to step up to this job. Oh, that reminds me. $6 at Walmart. And this, it's spent $6. This is butter caramel, butter caramel, butterscotch. It's candle. 3 things in it. Now I got my butterscotch candle, going my Jesus candle, my Mary candle. Oh no! Then it always gets to be the apocalypse now, helicopter shot. Oh, that is a good sign. Asterisk, maybe, no, yes, who knows? I'm gonna stay optimistic if you don't mind. And I just had, oh yeah, we're getting closer to purple, but it's still kind of red. Like my face. When I started 7 years ago, all my hair was brown. Well, 97% of my hair was brown. Now it's mostly gray silver with some brown. So yeah, the job has aged me. But I think I'm going to sign up for year 8, if you'll have me. Oh yeah, and the world doesn't end. I bought 2 dumbbells of 10 pounds each. In my opinion, I'm already like physically stronger than 97% of all men and women on the planet. as far as like actual strength and things you can lift, things you can throw, things you can pick up, things you can set back down. So I don't have to do a lot of heavy weight. I just have to do reps. Also, these were $10 for 10 pounds, and $20 for $24 for like 20 pounds. So I didn't want to spend $48. I drove to the ocean this week. So thank you, Astro Fight Club, for that. I hadn't driven to the ocean in a while. And the ocean is still as badass as it ever was. And the ocean contains raw power and magic. So much we do not know about the ocean. For as much as we've explored our upper atmosphere and supposedly the moon and Mars, we have explored our deep oceans as far as we know, a whole lot less. I have reason to believe they may have figured out how to equalize pressure back in 2015 or 2013, so you could probably do a lot more under ocean exploring after that, but that information doesn't get let out to the public, I don't think. So who knows? You have to use your imagination to figure out what you could do if you could have unlimited pressure to use as a force. There's a stretch of the imagination for you, bud. And I love y'all. So yeah, man is at war with himself. That's what we're dealing with here. 2021, April 21st. Mankind is still at war with itself. And we've split each other up into 215 countries. How many of them have nukes? Like 12, 13, 14, 15? I don't even know, man. But it's more than 6. As I mentioned before, does seem like human rights, maritime law, and space law, like above Earth, 100 miles to those who can get there and do things, and the resources beyond that they might own. I try to explain it properly in ways that I do. As a Sagittarius with a few Capricorn placements, they're like Saturn and Jupiter. And Saturn is a very Christmas planet. So is Jupiter, though, in my opinion. Okay. But so you had Saturn and Jupiter, and if you want to, you can look at them as like Loki and Thor, who had been fighting with each other, but then like as they came in to hang out with Pluto together, like a summer or winter or whatever, they're like Saturn and Jupiter had to like grow together to be like deal with all of Pluto's shit. And so on December 20th, Jupiter and Saturn left Capricorn. Capricorn's like the old ways, the old system, the old vibe. And it has devilish elements, for lack of a better term. But it's like Saturn, where like Saturn used to eat the other planets and not allow other planets to be around. And in mythological theory, that Jupiter was born and Jupiter became such a badass, Jupiter put Saturn in check. I'm like, yeah, you're going to stop preventing planetary progress. And so, you know, since then, there's been a weird vibe between the two planets. Like I said, I think that vibe just improved when they went past Pluto. I'm telling this is your Planetary Defense Commander, Star-Lord, New Thor 7 the T. And so they were both so excited when they first got into Aquarius. Like, yay, we got the fuck away from Capricorn and Pluto. And then they were like, yay, as they're running out, like, further away. And now, both planets are like, man, I've been in Aquarius together. Like, Loki and Thor just escaped Capricorn and Pluto and have been in Aquarius, but now they're like kind of sick of each other again, or they just would like a break. And so, like, Jupiter's about to go into Pisces, which is water based, and Saturn will be in Aquarius for the next 2 years, 2.5, something like that. And so, I don't know, at some point, Pluto still thinks it's king shit a fuck mountain, but the most energy it would have in the last 30 to 300 years happened the very beginning of 2020. So, like, that's its golden days. And so, like, now we're heading into the new age, or whatever. But I don't think people are prepared for. So Jupiter's been in Aquarius, and Aquarius is a very cryptocurrency type of thing. And with Pluto still in Capricorn, they're like, so Jupiter was helping expand the energy. And so as Jupiter moves out of Pisces, Saturn will be in Aquarius all by itself. And Saturn, like, rearranges all your shit and gives you a bunch of tasks and makes you, like, dot your I's and cross your T's. And so the whole free reign that the crypto world has had, where it's been, like, expanding large, we will have to see if that will continue into May 15th. We will see how Aquarius does with fucking Saturn, man. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Capricorn is very Saturnian energy. So the Scorpio moon, which is Scorpio, is like Mars and Pluto, if I understand things correctly. So it's going to be a very, like, leading up to, you started on 420 with that all energy, the whole day of all the things that we went through on 420. And then the full week of that is pretty much when the full moon in Scorpio happens. This is all a giant Mount Olympian, Earth Mount Olympus 2021. Choose your own fucking adventure. It does seem like that the overall big picture stuff is just almost always weirdly on a course that is affected by divine touch. Whether or not you believe in God, that, like, somehow there's some magic force that keeps everything together moving forward. So I'm still going to be betting on God, whether I live through the night or the next decade. That is where I've placed all my chips pretty much my whole life. God has been very good to me. And if you are using your belief in God, or your non-belief in God, or whatever the fuck you believe in at this point, for the rest of the year to argue with anyone anywhere, like, I think you're doing it wrong. I think you're doing it wrong. But my belief is that we should love God and appreciate all the good things. And we're all in this together. We're all family. We're all making it through. And that if you end war, if the whole planet stops fighting with each other, you have 215 nations, you have multiple corporations, you have and there's a very ghost of Steve Jobs in all of this. And it's like not even fucking Christmas yet. But one of the prevalent energies is, it seems like the ghost of Steve Jobs at some point is like, the ghost of Steve Jobs is like, I have shit I would like to say. Oh, so on the 20th, it was a weird day, bro. I probably wouldn't even get into all my theories yet, because this is gonna be a sensitive week. But so I'll just stick to the harmless ones. So Apple's like, we came out with the disc. It's like a flat little disc. You've seen it many times before in many of the movies when they're like, hero or letter organization needs to throw like a tracking device, like quickly, whoosh, like throw it onto a motorcycle, throw it on a dude riding a bike, throw it onto a car, throw it onto a truck. Whoosh. It's a little disc. And Apple was like, hey, we invented a little disc for you, a home consumer. If you need to track anything, anywhere, anytime, whoosh, it's only like $60. And the Apple people were, all the Appleites were like, yay, it's only $60. It's affordable. And that's the weird, the dystopianism shit. It's that like now that they're tracking, I've been under the impression, for me personally, that like I've been being tracked, everything I do or say, since like 2011 minimum as Thor News, like whatever, everything I did and said was being recorded. And then if Batman, the Dark Knight Rises, or the middle one, he's like, yeah, they have a giant, and they can even coordinate and coagulate and triangulate all the cell phones together into like a smartphone grid, and then they can pass it over to the AI and just like, hey AI, can you make the total Dyson Sphere baby grid better? If you're just joining us, this is a 3-candle broadcast. I have a Jesus candle, the heart of Jesus, and a Mary candle. And this one is like butter, caramel, and butterscotch. And I hope you and we have a fantastic 4th of July and a super duper holiday season. But if you're going by astrological theory, then these are like the 2 best months of the year, March and April. And I'm so grateful that we've even made it for 7 years, the last 7 years I've been here, that like I have a base level of happiness in me now. I'm just so grateful we've gotten this far. Doesn't necessarily mean I know what to do or say tomorrow, but I'll do my best. I'm saying the fact that we have made it this far is a total and absolute miracle. I am drinking here tonight. So I watched Saving Private Ryan the other day. Although earlier today I was watching